and you guys should get a notification. But Dan, you got the floor. You ready to roll? You guys can turn your
Yes.
cameras on or off or whatever you prefer. Um, we're hoping that you guys can all click mute. I think pretty much everybody is muted right now. If you would like to chat at all or you have a question, in the bottom center of the screen, there's a chat thing. It's like a little talking bubble. I'm going to be monitoring the chat in the first part of the meeting. And then when it's my turn to speak at the end, Jen is going to monitor the chat. So we'll try to keep up on that. And Jen, you might have to help me along the way too. But yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Thanks, Joel. So Joel is our host tonight, guys, for the Zoom meeting. Obviously, we have moved to a digital platform, so rest of our meetings for the season that obviously we're starting is going to be on Zoom. We have some important dates coming up. We'll share those with you here. I do want to say welcome back to everybody. I know we've all been eager to get back on the court since October. Now we get to watch. We've watched some pro. Now we get to watch some college, and now we actually get on the court. We really weren't notified till about 2 weeks ago from CIF that they were going to go ahead. We were thrown into that season two, and obviously we were the most restricted sport with indoor close contact. So it looked pretty bleak there for a while for us. But obviously they came around. A lot of the lawsuits and stuff kind of helped pave the way here. So they've officially started here. March 20th was their date, which was this past Saturday. There were a few games actually this past Saturday. Some of the schedules are still coming in. Some of the schools are still deciding whether they're having JV programs, freshman programs, girls and boys. So everything is still very fluid. I want to really emphasize that this year it's going to be an unusual year. We all, even on our side as officials, we have to be prepared for a lot of weird stuff, a lot of unusual stuff, things we've never done before, maybe empty gyms, parking lot driving, that kind of stuff. So if we can all be cognizant of that, it'll all go a little bit smoother. I want to reintroduce the board still. I know a couple emails went out about extending the current board because they're obviously the termination of their was over in April. Pardon me. Yes, this past April in 2020. So from April 2020 all the way to this point, we've kind of just had an extended board. So thank you to all the members who voted on that email that you saw. Your board has been working via Zoom. We've been meeting on a 1 monthly basis, basically, getting updates as best as we can from all the parties, and being able to share that with you. So what we are going to be able to share with you today is what we've kind of put together as a last minute season for ourselves as NCBOA, and other units are doing as well. So our meeting dates, number one, I'll start with our meeting dates. Obviously tonight is our first meeting date. Our second meeting date was scheduled for 2 weeks from now, which would have been April 5th. But we were notified that the national championship game for NC2A is on that night at 6 o'clock. So that'd be a little tough for people to watch the game and get their training as well. So we went ahead and bumped it a week to April 12th. So the next time we will meet will be April 12th. The following Monday, April 19th, will be the next meeting after that, May 3rd and May 24th. Those are our next 4 Zoom meetings. We will have a total of 5 Zoom meetings. We did actually have one in December if some of you guys participated. We are giving credit for that. We do still have to maintain our 15 hours to get our CIF certification. Just like in any year, we do have to continue our training, continue to strive for those 15 hours. We do have a study guide we do have to do, and the CIF exam as well. We'll announce those dates here shortly. As I've said, the season start has started. The regular season is going to go till about May 28th as of right now. So regular season will end May 28th. Playoffs, the San Diego sectional playoffs, will begin June 1st and will run till June 12th. The typical, Tuesday, Wednesday, first round, Friday, Saturday, second round. The following week, Tuesday, Wednesday, semifinal rounds. And then the finals again, Friday, Saturday, with all divisions hoping to play. Again, that will be fluid, barring any setbacks from schools, maybe some of the smaller divisions. I don't know yet. CIF is working on that. They have no locations yet for any of these finals. So we have really no clue about where and how, and everything's going to get scheduled there for those. As of right now, CIF has said there is no regional or state playoffs. So once the sectionals are done, that's pretty much over for the season. Again, the reason for that is I believe the schools have a rule where they cannot have two conjoining seasons that run about 90 days parallel to each other. Therefore, if they want to start a season in the following November, that puts them at a little bit of a time crunch. So those are kind of important dates for the season. Game wise, games are every day. Games are still coming in. Schedules are still coming in. All that Gordon will talk about signing wise, how he's going to do it this year. Obviously, that's going to be a little bit different. Other dates that are crucial that we want to get out there to you guys is number one is our study guide due date. Study guide due date is April 4th, which is Easter Sunday at midnight. April 11th is the CIF exam. That is also online, and those are both through the CBOA.net portal. Obviously, again, it's been probably a while since we've been able to use CBOA, and maybe don't remember our usernames, passwords, that kind of stuff. We'll try to help you guys the best we can with that, but hopefully you've written that down somewhere. But the study guide has already been open. It's been open for actually maybe about 5-6 days already. CIF exam is open. Again, those are open there for you. Material wise, Joel will go ahead and talk about that when he gets to his side of the instructional. We are doing digital kits this year. The only thing you're getting hard copy this year is the rule book. Again, the rule book doesn't change much from year to year. We all know that. Every now and then we get a few new adjustments to the rules or clarifications. Again, this year there wasn't many of those. So therefore, the book, not much of a change. Yes, we're trying to get those as fast as we can to you. I know Sal's met a few and have a few spots. Other people, Omar, guys on the board that have helped out. If you still haven't received your hard copy book, just please reach out to anybody on the board, myself, Terry, anybody, and we'll try to get those to you as fast as you can. But remember, those due dates are there. We are giving credit this year. CBO has really given us a lot of flexibility to our training and how we give hours. So we will be giving some hours for those tests and for the study guide. So those will go towards the hours that you do have to get, which we all know is 15 hours.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Dan, sorry to interrupt you real quick. I'm confusing everybody on the chat. You don't need to type your name into the chat. I can see the participants who are here. I have a list, so no need to type your name in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, Joel. Other things we want to update you guys on. Obviously, we had our HSSOC contract from the previous year was over, so we started that new 3-year process. With this year, our pay being bumped up, right? Instead of making $80 for a varsity game and $58 like we did last year, this year we're up $2 on both sides. There, we're up to $82 for a varsity game and $60 even for a JV and Frosh game. And I believe it is $68 for a 3-person game, which there may be some of those as well. And that's for the next 3 years. We will be getting a $2 bump for the next 3 years. So obviously, when we start in October, we'll be back to $84 and $62 for the JV side. Other updates: the CBOA NASO update, which is our insurance carrier, and obviously our unit umbrella. So they had a contract was scheduled this year. The 5-year contract with our insurance carrier was up. They obviously did some negotiating, the CBOA board and NASO. They came up with some prices going forward. So obviously they had a little bit of a hiccup with the pandemic, because I believe the contract was due to be signed in March 2020. And all of a sudden the pandemic hit and everything kind of messed up the contract. NASO went back to their table side and decided to give us, the CBOA, a little bit more of an umbrella to choose some more options, especially with the pandemic. So what does that mean for us as officials? Um, NASA was the first of us nice enough to extend our insurance. So usually when our insurance would have ended in April, they extended insurance April all the way up to this date. So about nine months or so, they've extended our insurance. So right now we've had insurance. If we were to referee, you're still getting your referee magazine. You're still getting your NASA locker rooms emails. All that stuff NASA has extended on the behalf of officials and helped out, which was very nice. They also came back with new contract options, which CBOA, the board, decided to choose one of the options. And one of their nice options was to keep the price the same for the first 2 years. They didn't want to get new costs for insurance to officials with the pandemic being around. So they kept the insurance costs the same, basically. So there is no uptake on that. Uh, but the contract will be a little bit backside heavy. The insurances will go up on a $2, I believe, period for the next 5 years after the first 2 years. So I believe at the end we'll be paying somewhere around $90 or so for our insurance. What does that mean for our costs? I know a lot of folks I've seen emails and talked to a couple officials about our costs. There was an email sent out about our fees pretty much being the same, and that is correct. Our fees are the same. The reason for that is just like CBOA and NASO, they've kind of kept their prices the same. We have kept our prices the same. We do have costs, but they are also updating and they are hoping to give us a rebate. There is, I believe they've already accepted a $5 rebate on behalf of CBOA. There might be other rebates coming from what I understand. And us as a board on the NCBOA, we also will be discussing a rebate and or a refund, maybe for this year or next year, depending on number of games, how the season goes. Like I said, everything's kind of fluid. We can go through a season and all of a sudden we hit a little bit of a bad bubble. Teams start canceling, schools get COVID, whatnot. We might get a canceled season. If that's the case, there is a different cost than we're paying. All those numbers are going to be changed, but for the upfront purposes, we do have to pay. We do need the insurance to be able to referee. We do need the training material. We do need the CBOA and the arbiter access to be able to assign games, to be able to take our tests and all that. So to be able to do that, we do have to pay the costs. That is the fees that we are asking as our officials to pay. It is nothing different than you guys have paid before. We have continued to pay 135. Obviously, if you got it in early bird special, you were paying the 135. If you weren't, you were paying the other prices. Other fees, our assigner fees, are going to be a little bit different. Gordon will talk about that. Other things we need to take care of. We need the fees do have a due date. It is March 26th. I know Terry, I believe, sent out an email last week that said March 19th. March 26th is technically our due date for those fees. We've already upfront paid for these digital kits that we are going to be start using here for Joel's training. So we do need to collect all that. Other stuff I want to go ahead and talk about. Evaluations. We are still doing our evaluations. So when we do officiate high school games, obviously that is all we have right now at this moment. Gordon will probably discuss that, but high school games, we still are using our evaluations on Arbiter. There is still that tab. You still will go in and go ahead and evaluate your officials. Maybe with the times, maybe it's a good time to leave more comments than just a number. Take the time, officiate, evaluate your official correctly. Not just because you're working a freshman game or a JV game, that doesn't make them a freshman or a JV level official. Maybe they're better than that. Same thing with a varsity game. Let's be honest to ourselves and to the official that we're working with. Last couple things I have for us is just some things we need to really understand what's happening here, guys. The reason some of this stuff is hard is because of the schools have testing issues. Okay, they can't do what colleges do. They don't have the money to test their kids. The kids are required to test before the games. So they've kind of worked out a schedule where they're able to test, and in a 48-hour period, they'll be able to play the games. That's why some of the games will be like on a Tuesday, Wednesday will be the blocks. Maybe Friday, Saturday will be another block. Um, so those will be different. Some of the smaller schools, private schools, we understand, they're going to have really weird schedules. They've had weird schedules from before, but now they're going to try to fit in games. They're going to try to fit them in on a weird day. So like I said, games are all day. So keep your arbiter update as much as you can. A couple things refereeing wise, the game is still the same. A foul is a foul, a technical is a technical, and an unsporting technical is an unsporting technical. Let's referee the games just like we know. I know it's been a while since we've been on the court, handle these situations, but we all know the game is the same. When we get on that court and that ball goes up, we see a foul, we call a foul. Let's go back to the basics of our trainings. We're going to have good training going forward. It's going to be a lot of good stuff Joel's got planned for us, but let's just stick to our basics. Let's call the obvious stuff. Let's keep being professional. We're going to have to deal with athletic directors. We're going to have to deal with coaches. We're going to have to deal with empty gyms. We're going to have to deal with people at the table. The benches are going to be funky. All this kind of stuff. So let's just keep being professional. Let's continue to take the high road. If we do have issues, let's go ahead and just note it, report it to one of us here at the leadership, NCBOA administration, and we'll try to handle whatever it may be. We all know some schools may be open, some may not. Some of the facilities may be open, some of them. Some might provide rooms for us, some might not. We're going to go ahead and go over some of the CIF COVID protocols here shortly, and I'm sure there'll be a million questions on those. I just want to emphasize, please, very unusual year. Let's try to help out ourselves as much as we can. Let's be prepared. Let's be prepared on our training, instruction, and obviously let's just make sure we're going to do what we've been trained to do. Get on the court, be professional, take the high road, work out the situations the best we can. We all know how to do that, and keep being professional. That's pretty much all I have for the updates. Terry, are you on? Do you want to add anything to that?
I was just looking for Terry, and I don't see him yet. I know
I believe he had a baseball game. He might be running a little late.
Yeah.
I believe Terry's going to continue to take role, guys. Like Joel said, there's a way that we're able to see who's here and who's not. Joel will have participating events of these, so don't think you can just go to sleep or turn on your video and go watch the NC2A double game that's going on. Please be interactive, ask questions. That chat's open. We'll try to answer them as best as we can. And that's about it. Maybe Gordon and Sal, you guys want to take the time update?
So once again, guys, you don't need to write your name in the chat. So Jen is taking just screenshots of who is present, and Terry will be able to take roll from that. So I think Sal had a baseball game as well. So
okay, I have a little update from Sal from what I understand.
Okay.
I've talked to Sal about our paying process. I know last year we did our first time trying paying basically instead of 2 weeks, we paid once a month. That will continue this year. We will be only paying once a month. We haven't set that date yet. Obviously, the season's just rolled in. This will be the first week. So maybe in about a week or two goes by, that first pay will go out, most likely towards the end of this month. And then we'll have another one in April. We'll have another one in May. And then we'll have another one in June. Yeah, the signer fee, I did mention that. It was $70. We've paid $70 before for our signer fee. This year, our signer and our board has decided to give you guys a little bit of a pay reduction on that. So the signer fee this year is $60. That's 60. It's very nice of Gordon and very nice of the board to help you guys out on that. Like I said, we're also looking for other refunds that we may be giving as the season goes. So that 135 fee that you guys have, it might be less. Obviously, the $70 that you paid before is already $10. From, like I said, from Sal's point of view, Sal's gonna also might have a little struggle like he's had before with some schools paying, but we'll see how it goes. That's why we're gonna at least continue the 1 month payment here. Um, if there is any struggles, if officials do need pay, I'm sure if you reach out to Sal, he would be happy to work out something if you need to be, including the application fees. Uh, the minimum number, I see one here, the minimum number of games for the fee, for the signer fee is going to be 5. If you work 5 games, you're going to be asked to be paying the assigner fee. From what I understand from CIF, they're not planning on doing a 28 game schedule for the schools. Obviously, that's going to be tough to put into I believe it is about a 9 to 10 week block there, especially if they can only play within 48 hours of being tested. So I believe they put a cap of 15 minimum games for them to be playoff eligible. Then again, it's up to the schools. Some might play just 15, some might play 20, some might try to get in the full 20. No tournaments right now, right? They're not able to play a 3-day tournament, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So as of right now, no tournaments. As we all know, we've just, as a county, been put into the red tier this past week. Again, maybe in a few weeks, we get into that yellow tier. We keep moving up. Maybe by May, June, some of these games, they might have fans in the stands. They might have full capacity. They might actually go back to some of the normal stuff we're accustomed to. Maybe when we get to June and playoffs roll around, maybe we do have a packed house at UCSD for a final. So just remember, everything's ever changing, ever moving. Please just try to work the best you can with your schedules. I know they will be ever changing as well. Gordon's still to right now receiving schedules and still working on entering them. Any other questions there, Joel, we need to discuss?
Yeah. Hey, everybody, do not pay me direct for the assigner fees. Don't send it on Venmo. Don't send me checks. It goes, the money goes to the NCBOA. Okay.
Yeah, and I believe Sal's put a few things on Arbiter about how to pay before for your application fee. Basically, guys, remember, just in that little note column, you can write what that money's for. You can write it's $135 for application. It's $60 for assigner. That's the difference there, guys. That same process that Sal has on Arbiter, that's always the same process if you decide to pay there. If you're not paying through Arbiter, like Gordon said, if you're paying Venmo or paying a check, the signer fee goes to NCBOA, then the NCBOA will pay the assigner that price at the end. Last thing here.
Hey guys, if you can mute yourselves, that would be awesome. I can hear your background sound.
One last thing that
Dan, I muted you too on accident.
Yeah, no worries. I figured.
Oh man, hang on. That was nice. Okay.
Somebody.
That was Tom.
Yeah. No worries. One last thing too, guys, is the materials that we are using this year, the hard copy book that will be used again next year. So just remember, hang on to your materials that you have. Don't throw nothing away. We are gonna most likely use that stuff going forward next year. Gordon, you have anything else to update?
Sorry. The assigning is really going to be week to week, pretty much for the whole season. So I'm not going to be sending out games 2-3 weeks in advance. It's going to be week to week. Schedules are they're just too fluid. Everything's changing almost daily. Times are changing. Games are getting canceled. There's going to be players and teams that are getting COVID. There's testing involved. I mean, there's just so many layers. So I'm not going to be sending out games, as far out in advance as I normally do. So it'll be week to week. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays are, like I said, are the busier days. And when I say busy, it's probably anywhere between 20 and 30 games a day. So obviously, not everyone's going to be working. And I'm just gonna try and shuffle things around and, try and make it as easy and even as I can to in terms of number of games. And so that way, we don't have people working, 50 games and then the next person would work in one. So I'm gonna just do my best to move it around. Um, Obviously, with that being said, if in terms of skill level and ability, if you're, we've got you as a freshman level official, you're not going to be working a tons of varsity, and so that, I mean, that's also a factor as well. Availability comes into play. Um, so there's a lot of factors, but in general, I'm going to be trying to just mix things up and getting people their fair share of games. Okay. Any questions?
Who's the staff, Gordon?
Ryan Giangregorio is going to be the backup. So if there's 5-minute game like I'm going to be tomorrow, Ryan will be the backup, and then if you can't get a hold of Ryan, then Joel will be the backup for Ryan. So Ryan and Joel will still be the assistant assigners if stuff comes up.
So Gordon, do you want to give updates on just like all the other leagues that we normally do?
What other leagues? The like the small schools?
Well, I was thinking more of the adult leagues and things like that. There's nothing really.
Yeah,
happening.
there's not really any youth basketball or adult rec or anything like that going on right now. I mean, so all we have right now solely is high school. Freshman, JV, varsity. And really the freshman and JV, they're trying to figure out if they're even going to have, teams. So I think there's going to be freshman teams. It's just, it may not be at the level it was in past years in terms of quantities. I think there's probably going to be a handful of freshman teams, and they're going to try and play those on Saturday mornings before the varsity games, and then the varsity will play on Saturday night, the girls and the boys.
Hey, Gordon, I have a question. Will they try to do one site for the freshmen, or do you not have a good feel for that yet?
Yeah, I don't have a good feel for that yet. I think they're not gonna do one site. They're trying to stay away from bringing large groups and teams into one site. So I don't foresee them saying, yeah, let's bring in 6 freshman teams over the course of a day. I think they're gonna try and just use the host sites. Yeah, or the home sites. For pay, so obviously the fees are in the CIF fee sheet on the CIF San Diego website. Pretty straightforward. $82 for varsity, 60 for Frosh and JV. Dan mentioned that, but I think the question is going to be, is if a game gets canceled, do I still get paid? So if you're the way the HSSOC contract states, it says if you're on site and the game gets canceled, then you're going to get paid. You get paid full fee. So if you're en route, if you're driving, you're in the car, and I call you and I tell you the game's canceled, just tell me you're on site. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Gordon, in the chat, should we expect double headers?
Yes. So when there are double headers, I'm going to try and double up everybody, but I know there's people that don't want to work double headers. And so in those cases, I'll try and, give one of those double headers to one official, and then give another official that, maybe has availability that's later in the night. Maybe give that person the late game, or just give another person who wants to do a single game, give them the late game. So for the most part, doubles will be happening. And then the people who want singles, we're going to accommodate them as well. So that's the plan.
And everybody asking questions about how to access the study guide materials, I'll go over that in my session.
Great.
Okay. One last thing to cover, guys. Hopefully you guys saw the email that went out a few weeks ago with the CIF COVID protocols. I know Joel put a link to it. You could go on CIF website, CIFSDS.org. They have it there. Find basketball. They have one basically for every single sport. So we're going to try to cover that, at least the officials part, or what's in it for us that matters the most. It is pretty vague. There are a few things that probably don't make sense, or you read one thing and you look at it down the line and it says something else. But we're basically going to try to make this as easy as we can. So number one, it says officials will be screened. Like we said, coaches and kids, they have to get tested. Basically, any other personnel going to the gym, scores, timers, all those people, they're basically just going to get screened, right? They're going to probably do a temperature check, maybe ask you a few questions, that kind of stuff. They say when we enter campus, they are asking for us to have our masks on. So what does that mean? That means when we get into the parking lot, we park our car, and as soon as we get out of our car and grab our bag and start walking towards that gym, let's put our mask on. That's what they're asking us to do. When we walk up all the way to the gym and when we find whoever we have to find in that gym to go where we're going, let's have our mask on. Once we do get in the gym, they are asking obviously for us to come dressed. Now we know that sometimes that might not be possible, but if you have the ability to come dressed, please. That's what it's okay to wear your NCBOA jacket and then walk out from your car to the gym. That's fine. We know fans are going to be maybe messing with us a few times, but as of right now, there might not be any fans in the gym. Some of the schools are still working that out to let parents in, that kind of stuff.
It looks like, Dan, each player is going to be allowed four household members per player. So you're going to have fans in the stands.
Sure. So again, they're emphasizing us to come dressed. Like I said, we know that sometimes might not be possible, but if you can, come dressed. Bring your own water. Bring your own towel. Right? They don't want to give you their stuff to use, and I'm sure maybe you as an official wouldn't want to use their stuff. Who knows if it's been washed or not, right? Who knows where that water bottle came from? So bring your own water. When we do get there, some of the facilities may not be open. Yes, it states on the protocol that facilities should be clean and sanitized for us. But then again, 5:30, 7 o'clock games, right? School's not in. Some of those facilities may be closed. Coaches' rooms may be closed. I'm sure they'll do their best that they can. We'll try to get as much information as we can from athletic directors before the game, right? That's one of our protocols that we're going to go over here. Probably the next one is we need to make a phone call to the athletic directors the day of the game or the day before the game to find out if there's anything weird. I believe Joel sent out an email out there already about that. It's a simple phone call to say, hey, is there a special parking lot? Is somebody at the gate? Maybe it's a private school, right? They might have security. It might be a public school. You might just park in the same spot and walk into the same place and walk into the same room. Might all be the same. Obviously, they're going to stop us and screen us somewhere. Let's be respectful.
Hey Dan, we
yes.
got a couple questions in the chat. So is mask mandatory to wear even if you're fully vaccinated? And so Dan covered that. So we're asked to. So the CIF document was a little bit contradictory to itself. My interpretation of that, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, we're to wear a mask at all times when we're on campus. The exception is if you are comfortable taking your mask down or taking your gaiter down during live ball when you're actually officiating basketball, then you're able to do that. But during timeouts, during pregame, your walk into the gym, your walk out of the gym, anytime basketball is not happening on the court, a mask should be on.
And of course, guys, we know that the reason they wrote this so vaguely is because they want to cover themselves, right? They don't want somebody getting sick and having to be blamed for it. Not to say that that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's why it's so vague. For us officials, let's make it simple, right? Let's just we get out of the car, we walk up to the gym, wear our masks. If we're standing within 6 feet of our partners and we're let's wear our masks. If we have a timeout or halftime or post game, let's wear our mask. As soon as we leave that gym, by all means, and you get in your car, go ahead and do what you got to do. Other things we need to talk about there is the scorers table, right? The scorers table, again, they're asking for it to maybe be moved off the floor a little bit. They're asking for less personnel there. Obviously, we know what we need. We need a scorer book, we need a scorer, and maybe there's two of them, right? A scorer timer, shot clock, clock eye, or maybe one guy does one. But those are the three important people there. We need a book, and we need a scorer timer. It might be the same person. Other personnel, they've asked, let's move them to a different table. We talked about subs. Obviously, they're not going to be coming to the X anymore. They're going to stay at the 28-foot mark. The benches, right? The benches aren't going to be chair, 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 chair. It's going to be staggered. It might be chair, back, stay, chair, back, back. They're actually even allowing them to extend past the end line. What does that mean for us as coaches box? Again, let's extend the end line. That means the coach can go down to the past the end line. Can he come around the corner and be a lead official? No, he cannot. But can he walk down to all the way to the end of the wall and talk to some player that's down way at the end of his bench? Yes, he can. Other things we talk about is let's not try to be the fashion police. We talked about being fashion police before. Well, now we're kind of running into being also the COVID protocol police or the mask police. Again, the coaches are there, the admin are there. Let's use them. Let's get them. Hey, a kid comes out of a game and starts walking to the bench and gets a drink of water and sits down. Technically, he's supposed to put his mask on after he's done drinking that water. Okay, are we going to stop the game and say, hey, coach, we need so-and-so to put the mask on? No, we're going to say, hey, coach, help us out when we can. If it becomes a problem, let's just note it. Again, use the protocols we can. Let's go ahead and go to the coaches. Let's find an admin, that kind of stuff. Other things we need to talk about pre-game wise, we might not have that long 30 minutes that we have to get dressed, right? Because we're coming dressed now. So let's talk about having a pregame with our partner, maybe a phone call before you guys get there, or meeting 10 minutes before, even a simple email pregame. Any kind of a pregame obviously is going to be better than no pregame. You can have a pregame standing on the court, might be tough, while you're observing the 20-minute pregame, and you're standing next to each other and trying to talk as well with masks on. But let's make sure we still have ourselves a pregame with our partner. Captain's meeting. They've asked us to suspend the captain's meeting. That means no captain's meeting. We're not grabbing captains at the 10-minute mark or the 12-minute mark or whatever and saying hello and all that good stuff. We are still doing our job at the 10-minute mark. We are still making sure the coaches have entered the team's names and gotten their starters. Again, let's give the leeway we need be. We understand some schools might be coming into the gym right when the game starts, that kind of stuff. Coaches meeting, me and Gordon have talked about it, Joel as well. To me, I'm okay with you guys just saying hello. Gordon says, hey, let's not just say hello, let's just go into the game. I'm okay with it. Again, they don't want any physical contact, so no handshakes, fist bumps, that kind of stuff. But if you want to say, hey coach, but again, let's give them equal time. Let's not just go talk to one coach because we know one and the other one we don't. Right?
Dan, I'm fine with the saying hi. I don't see the need to go over and shake hands. I just would stay at half court, wave to each side, and be that, and that's fine by me. But I think
I'm not talking about going over to them. I'm talking about at least some kind of acknowledgement.
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, same thing. Let's acknowledge our scorebook personnel, right? They're part of our third team. They make sure the timer knows what he's doing. It's probably been as long as them to be on a court as us. So if they need a little fresher or somebody new, maybe we haven't seen, let's make sure we're handling that. Those are pretty much the basics on the protocols. If there's any other questions from those, Joel, did we have any other questions on the protocol?
No. I just had a couple quick points with that, if you don't mind me adding. So
no, go ahead.
So Dan mentioned that we're going to show up dressed if possible. So we're not guaranteed to have a facility at the site. So if you have the ability to show up, whether that be in another jacket, but have your referee uniform on and then just throw your game jacket on when you're in the facility, that would be ideal. just to avoid us having to change in bathrooms and things like that. That would be ideal. I wouldn't plan on any shower facilities or anything like that at the gym. Um, and let's just as a group make a commitment to be flexible and accommodating, right? These schools are bending over backwards trying to get this season in for these kids. And so let's just be on the same team with these administrators and these coaches, and try to be as accommodating, as flexible, as professional as you can when you arrive at the school. And then the last thing, just remember that we're here to serve the game of basketball. We're not there to give advice on COVID protocols or compare like, oh, I was at Orange Glen and they did it this way, and then I was at Torrey Pines and they did it this way. Those administrators don't care. They're trying to do the right thing and trying to get through this season. So the more we can have kind of that service attitude, is we're here to serve the game of basketball. We're here to serve those athletes. I think we're going to get through this season. It's going to be a lot smoother.
One last thing to add there too, Joel, is the time thing, right? We've asked before to be there, 30 minutes before the game starts and all that stuff. Again, 20 minutes, we're supposed to be on the court at that 20-minute mark when that goes, no later than that 15 mark. So if it takes you 5 minutes or so to walk to a gym, if it takes you another 5 or minutes, you want to spend time to do a pregame with your partner, accommodate for that time. Don't just show up at 5:15 and they're about to tip off at 5:30. They're going to try to stick to those times for that 5:30 tip off. If you got that double header, it's okay to be there at 5 o'clock. Sure they'll let you in. It's okay to hang out and they might just give you a couple chairs behind the scorer's table or in a corner in some places. So just like Joel said, let's accommodate what we can. Let's help them out. Let's do our game, and then of course do what we can to be invisible, like we try always to be. Right? Appreciate our game. The game's the same. The coaches will do their same barking. The players will do their same knucklehead stuff. But hopefully, we'll continue to get familiar with what we've been missing here the last 9-10 months.
Can I just add something, Dan?
Yeah.
So in general, like, I know it's a lot of information, but just I mean, this is what I did all season long. I mean, just go to your game 90% dressed. Don't take your bag in if you don't need to. Just go in, have a little bit of a pregame, stay away from everybody, hang out outside, hang out across the table, do your pregame, do the game, in and out, call the obvious, and just leave. You don't. I wouldn't go in the locker room. I wouldn't go in at halftime. I wouldn't go over to hang out by the scorer's table. Like, just kind of like we've been doing for last year. The key right here really is to keep everyone safe and healthy and get through the season. And so, in my experience, the way to do that is just to, aside from reffing these games and calling the obvious fouls, just stay away from people. There's no reason to get into the nitty gritty of, getting into crowds and getting in between players and talking to coaches and handshake. Just keep your mask on, stay away from people, call the obvious, get in, get out. And that's it. That's my opinion.
So I have a question for you, Gordon and Brandon. I kind of called you to the carpet in the beginning of the meeting, but do you guys have any suggestions, since you guys have been working games all season, about different types of masks to wear? Any suggestions with actual physically having the whistle in your mask, and kind of some feedback on that for everybody?
Yeah, for me, I use the Under Armour mask, the black one. That works for me. But I know a lot of people use that N95 black mask that you can get off Amazon. They're pretty cheap. A lot of people I've seen with the Fox 41 from Purchased Officials and Fox 40. All it comes down to really is whatever's comfortable for you. So I think everyone's probably gonna have to try a couple masks, get comfortable, and go out there and work. That's if you want to wear a mask while you're going to ref. Some people are going to choose not to wear a mask, and that's okay too. But I chose to do it, and that's what I did.
The Under Armour mask that Gordon's talking about, I just bought 2 yesterday at the Under Armour store in Carlsbad, and they were They're normally $30 each, and there were 2 for 40. So if you guys are interested in that, there's a deal there. What about you, Brandon? Do you have any words of wisdom for us?
So I just have a regular cloth mask. If you have your mask on or your camera on, you can see I have it here. It's just a regular cloth black mask. And I didn't wear a lanyard with my whistle, and the mask was able to catch the whistle when I needed it to, when I had to drop it to make a call. A lot of officials this year didn't use lanyards. Some are uncomfortable without it and wore lanyard. It's totally up to you. There were some that would take safety pins and use the loop of the whistle, this part here, and they would safety pin it to the inside of their mask. So when they dropped it, it was just hanging there. It just depends, like Gordon said, on how comfortable you are and what you're comfortable with. And if you don't want to use a mask, I guess that's okay too. I will probably continue to use a mask. I didn't have any problems. I didn't drop it. The one thing you got to remember is if you don't use a lanyard, we're so used to grabbing our whistle. We're kind of creatures of habit as officials, grabbing our whistle. And it happened to me a few times this season where my partners forgot to stick their whistle back in their mouth, and they went to blow a call, stuck their fist in the air, and no whistle came out because they forgot after a timeout or whatever to stick that whistle back in their mouth, which is very possible, could happen. And as partners, we kind of have to recognize our other partner when they have a situation like that, and you just may have to blow it for them to stop the play. Otherwise, we could have some serious issues at that point. But that was what I used. I felt really comfortable, had no problems at all. Was able to blow a strong whistle. So, but yeah, that worked for me. And I personally did not like the Under Armour mask. I tried it. I did not like it. The cloth mask worked the best for me. So again, it's everybody's preference.
Cool.
There are people that use gaiters. I tried the gaiter and I didn't like that either. You have to have a lanyard, obviously, with a gaiter. So, but yeah, that's what I had.
Thank you.
Hey,
John-
this is Daniel real quick. Hey, I didn't read anything on the memo that, did it have anything, if we don't wear a mask, do we need a whistle cover? Because I know out in Arizona, for high school, it was a thing. And then for college, you definitely needed to have a whistle cover, but it was optional. We just made it easy. Just the crew wore either a gaiter or a mask, and then you wouldn't have to worry about having a whistle cover. So I was
No cover.
Yeah,
Good.
Danny, they didn't say anything about a whistle cover in the specifications from CIF.
If I may add, those whistle covers are terrible. I bought 2 of them this year thinking they were, godsend, and they were the worst things ever. It totally distorts your whistle. They're hard to use. Personally, they I don't know how else to say it, but they suck. They're terrible. Everybody I talked to that ever tried them was having problems with them. Yeah, they're not good. That's just from my experience, because I did try them and they were no fun. So
Okay.
That being said, guys, sounds like that our signaling is going to be pretty important to us this year, especially if some of us decide to referee with masks on. Signaling is going to be very crucial going forward. So let's make sure we do the right signals. Our body language tells a lot. Like Brandon said, I can have a fist up, but my whistle's not in my mouth. Brandon can maybe make up for that in that situation.
Yeah. Hey, John Irving, you had your hand up real quick. Is there something you wanted to add to the group?
Yes, hi everyone. I just wanted to know about gloves. For my college games, I wear gloves. Can we wear gloves?
Yes, you
Gloves,
are allowed.
yes.
Yes, you're allowed to wear gloves. And it's totally optional, just like a mask while you're on the floor.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so Dan, Gordon, if you guys are all done, I want to go jump through my bullet points, and I want to show people around a couple websites and things like that, just to keep the meeting going along. I don't want to have the meetings go much over an hour when we meet live, just because I know it's hard to sit on a Zoom for much longer than that anyways. So Gordon, Dan, do you guys have anything else to add before I move forward?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing for me.
Okay, cool. And feel free to jump in, guys. And so while I'm talking, Jen is going to monitor the chat. So if you guys have anything else that you feel like you need to ask, Jen will do her best to answer. And then when I'm done, we'll open it up for any questions to the group. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so I wanted to show you guys a couple things related to accessing your digital materials. So the first thing you need to do is go to cboa.net, and you'll need to log in with your email that you have on file and your password. If you don't have that, there's a mechanism down here to recover your password. And it's really quick. It sends you an email immediately. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in here real quick. So you do your password and your unit, which is North County. And then go to this My Dashboard on the left-hand side. And so the first thing I'm going to show you guys is how to access your digital material. So it's this button right in the middle. It says Digital Access Instructions. And if you click on that, it's going to go to this PDF, and it gives you a real easy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of what you need to do. You can download it to any smartphone, any tablet, to your personal computer. And I did it today. It took about 5 minutes to do. It gives you a temporary password, and as soon as you log in with that temporary password, it will automatically make you create your own password. And so that will be all of your materials, the official Edge training resource manual, your mechanics book, and then your rule book is still a hard copy, which Sal Gambino has set up some drop-off sites. So I'm sure he'll continue to do that as until all the members get their books. So if you guys have any issues with this or questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Terry, the secretary, and he can help you get access to those materials. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is also in this My Dashboard. To access your study guide, you're going to click this online testing and select tests. And it'll be the first test that pops up. Sorry, you guys are in the way right here. But it's this first test. So all you do is click on this green button. It's 216 questions, I believe. And it is due on April 4th at midnight. The test will close on April 4th at midnight. So you guys have just under 2 weeks to get that completed. And again, if you have trouble accessing this, please feel free to reach out, call, text, email, all work for me. The CIF test will also be up in this same exact link right here. You'll just scroll down to the CIF test. I haven't opened it yet, but I will do so in the next couple days here. So as soon as you're ready, you can take the CIF test as well. And that will be due April 11th, which is the Sunday before our next meeting. Let's see, what else did I have to go? Oh, okay. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is I sent out some instructions. I'm going to pull these up real quick. I sent out these instructions on how to access Edpuzzle. So all of our online instruction is going to be done via video. I'm going to have a short amount of time like I do tonight during our general membership meetings, but a bulk of our instruction is going to be done in a video format through this program called Edpuzzle. So this PDF that you guys received in email last night gives you guys step-by-step instructions on how to log in, how to create an account. There is a very specific, there's a specific code, class code that is assigned to NCBOA. And you basically just have to enter some very basic information, create a password, and then this is what it'll look like once you're in there. I'll actually pull up the website here in a second, but a couple reminders I wanted to share with you guys. Edpuzzle does not allow you to skip to the end of the video. So the video that is up right now is 31 minutes long. You have to watch it from start to finish, or you will not get credit for that assignment. All the assigned videos will be due prior to the following NCBOA meeting. So our next meeting is on April 12th. You guys will need to complete that video assignment by that day. And I have the ability to download a grade book, which will is how we'll take attendance to see who's completed that video assignment. So I'm gonna pull up the website real quick. This is what it looks like right now. And the assignment that is out for you guys right now is titled Meeting Number 1. And in the meeting number 1, I go over the all the rule changes and points of emphasis for this current season, and then a very brief kind of just reminder overview of mechanics and what to look for on the floor and different responsibilities in different positions. It's going to be a review for a lot of you, but I feel that we haven't been on the court in a year, so everybody could use a refresher on some mechanics. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here real quick. And then finally, I just wanted to say, thank you guys for your patience in advance of going through this instruction electronically for the first time. I'm truly humbled to serve in this capacity. There's been some great people instructing before me, Ed for a couple of years before me, and Michael McNeely and Jared Deneen, and those guys really taught me a lot in my officiating, as well as many of you. So thank you in advance, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that this year goes as smooth as possible. But if you guys have suggestions for me or video plays you want to share, please reach out. Don't hesitate to give me a call. And let's see, do we have any questions in the chat, Jen? I haven't been looking at that, so I've been sharing my screen.
No.
What's that?
Joel.
Yeah.
It's Cliff.
Yeah.
So a couple tips. First of all, those of you guys doing Ed Puzzle, it's maybe a 4 to 6 minute process to get into it. I did it just before the meeting. It's fairly easy, even if you're not computer quick. Also, a suggestion for everybody as far as getting the books out just came to me. Tuesday and Wednesday, we have games together. Maybe the R should make arrangements to get 2 books from whoever's handing out books, and between now and their game Tuesday, Wednesday, or can even be on Friday or Saturday. And then the R can deliver the book to their partner. And that will cut at least in half our book delivery system. Also, as far as the COVID issues, if any questions are thrown to us that have to do with COVID by players, parents, table, whatever, my suggestion, I think everybody will agree with me, is that we refer that to admin, and we tell them if anybody has any questions about COVID related things to ask your administration on site about those things.
Yeah, that goes back to what Dan was talking about. We're not there to be the COVID police. We're there to simply enforce the rules of the basketball game. Don't get involved or wrapped up in that.
That's it. That's it for me.
Okay, thanks, Cliff.
Joel, I just want to add really quick too. Our website is back up. We revamped a couple things. So if you want to check there, as of right now, we don't have FAQ up there, but basically after this evening, anything that we covered, literally from the beginning of the meeting to the end, will be posted on the website. So if that was a lot of information thrown at you, we will post it on there. We're going to be more active on social media. So follow us on Facebook, it's NCBOA, and then follow us on the website too. It's ncboa.net, not .com, ncboa.net. And we're going to just, keep posting as we go and try and keep you guys as informed as possible. So if you have any questions, message us through there, text us, email us. We're here for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Jen. So a couple things in the chat. Dan, you wanted me to talk about makeup meetings. So we are recording all of the meetings, and so the idea is that if you do have to miss a meeting or you're assigned a game, that you can be assigned that video to watch. You will need to contact me to make up that meeting. Obviously, you all get credit for tonight, but if you know, on April 12th, you guys have a game, or you know, have a family commitment or whatever. The nice thing about this Zoom sort of venue is we have some flexibility in that people can make up meetings and things like that. Let's see. What else? Oh, Merlin, you asked a question about first-year officials on the roster. So to my knowledge, board, you guys will have to correct me. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes. So first year officials, as of right now, we have no plans to have a first year class. Obviously, kind of tough to get them on a court. There is no youth ball right now. There is no adult rec. You know, summer stuff we don't know as of right now either. So the decision by the board was to kind of scratch the first year class this year. We did have some candidates somewhere in the 5 to 10 range as always. It would have been hard for them to get the training they needed, ask the money that we usually ask for rookies, and then be able to not give them a game because we don't have a game. We have talked about as a board that maybe possibly summer comes up, we might, instead of doing like how we had before with a spring class, we might maybe do a summer class and have officials there. Maybe the youth ball stuff comes back by that time, June, July, August. And then there'll be more opportunities for them. And then maybe we can add a few officials. And again, maybe we'll have a few volunteers that would want to run that class. And we can do it that way. But as of right now, we don't have any new officials. I did see another chat question, I believe, about welcoming new transfer officials or associate officials. So I welcome those, whether you're from San Diego, Inland Valley, Imperial Valley, all that stuff. Welcome to NCBOA. You know, we're hoping that we continue to provide a good service for our schools. Like we said, you know, it's going to be a funky year. It's going to be a weird year. We're all going to do our best. If we're all confused, if all this is too much, you know, don't hesitate to call anybody on the board. Get the answers you need. Last thing you want to do is make sure you're not going somewhere where you're not sure and doing something that you're on the fence with. Everyone's taking the risks to be here, and we thank you for doing that. Yeah, Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to, if you're done, I just wanted to kind of reinforce the email that Gordon and I sent out on Saturday too, that it is the R on the game's responsibility to send that email to the athletic director and communicate to your partner any additional information, whether that be meeting time or place on campus, where to park, but we want one point of contact for the athletic director, and please be mindful. If you send an email a couple hours before the game, it is very likely that they're not going to respond. They have, you know, they're trying to cram all these sports into basically a couple months before school's out, and so we need to be conscious of all the things that they're having to deal with on their end. So you know, I'm not saying send it a week before, but maybe the day before, maybe the night before would be a good time. And I even wrote out email template for you guys. You guys can just copy and paste and use that if you'd like. But that puts a little bit more responsibility on the R of the game to make sure that you and your crew are good to go and understanding of everything that's going to be expected of you on site.
See, Brandon, you got a question?
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the meeting schedule on one of the recent emails. Joel, you said the next meeting is April 12th, but this says April 5th. I just want to clarify.
Yeah, so April 5th is the national championship game, the finals for the NCAA tournament, and so we figured it'd be better to push that a week, and so we can have the Arbiter website updated, and then Jen, can you update the actual website as well? That would be great.
Yeah,
okay.
So that is April 12th, not April 5th.
But then you also have one April 19th. So we're going to go back-to-back weeks.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay. Just making sure.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So that's all I have for my portion. Dan, if you want to kind of close this out, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Again, guys, thank you all for being here tonight, taking the time. Obviously we would still be sitting at Calvin Christian for another hour or two, but here we are about almost 7:15 and gonna have a chance to get out of here. As Joel has kind of stated, it's structured a little differently, so we do kind of have a little bit of a homework to do. We do have our study guide. We knew 2 weeks left before that due date's coming up. Obviously, our fees are coming up and due as well. Again, if you have any, you need any help on the fees, that kind of stuff, money wise, please contact Sal. Sal's pretty good at working with most officials on certain things. If you guys have any questions when it comes to scheduling, assigning, that kind of stuff, please feel free to reach out to anybody on the signing staff, Gordon, Joel, and Ryan. They can answer those questions. Again, remember, we are independent contractors. You are responsible for your own schedule. You are responsible for your own livelihoods. We're going to try to help you out as much as we can. Again, we know all the schools are going to be different. We're going to be sending you to all these schools, and every school is going to be different. So you're going to be our kind of eyes and ears out there. So if you hear something, or you know something, or you go to a school and something becomes weird, or you want everybody else to know, let's share that information. Me and Joel had this conversation earlier this morning. I think one of the things we really need to do this year, maybe one of our main theses is over communication this year. We really need to over communicate. We've already talked about maybe wearing masks, and our signals are going to make a difference for us. We've already talked about over communicating with athletic directors in schools, with our partners. Let's not be silent this year. Let's over communicate. Make sure we know where we're going, who we're going with, what times. Make it easier, so our signing staff's not handling phone calls about, well, this guy hasn't showed up yet. Where is he, right? We've also talked about certain other things that the board is in progress. We have another board meeting coming up later this week. We're going to discuss some things, maybe some rebates, maybe some refunds, maybe waiving some turnback fees, that kind of stuff. So there are things in play for you guys that will benefit you monetarily. And then obviously there are things in there that we'll try to strive to improve on court and off the court. So please continue with your patience. Get on the court, do what you've been trained to do. Hopefully that'll come back like riding a bicycle. If you have any questions, like Jen said, we have a lot of different portals. We've got some social media. We've got our website back up. Remember, the DDR account is gone. There's no more DDR. We are back to NCBOA.net. Remember CBOA.net. Hopefully you guys don't struggle with your sign-ins and logins there. If you have troubles, contact Terry or Joel. They can help you guys on that end. Then if you have any questions, or if you've missed, or if you talk to other officials who missed tonight, again, it's been recorded. Joel will have a portal, or I believe he might even have a YouTube channel that he might throw this stuff on. So good luck to everybody. Do what you're doing. And we'll see you guys in a few weeks. Obviously the 12th, so more like 3 weeks. We'll see you guys, and best of luck. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just
Go ahead,
gonna.
Gordon.
I was gonna let everybody know the Friday, Saturday games are probably gonna come out either tomorrow night or Wednesday. So there's Friday and Saturday doubleheaders, or not doubleheaders, but Friday and Saturday varsity games. So those will come out either tomorrow or Wednesday. There's about 20, 25 games each night. Okay. And honestly, if you're not comfortable refereeing, I mean, this stuff changes, by the day. If your mind changes and you don't feel like refereeing, you can always opt out. You don't have to accept these games. You can wait. You can get vaccinated. You can not get vaccinated. I mean, it's up to you, right? Just like Dan was saying, you're an independent contractor. It's up to you. So feel free to decline the games. Feel free to just let us know that you're going to wait till summer. Totally up to you guys and gals. Okay. Any questions?
No, looks like we've covered everything. I'm looking. No more questions. So thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. If you guys want to stick around, you can stick around. I believe Joel's the last guy to turn it off. So once Joel turns it off, we're kind of all out of here. But again, thanks, guys. We'll